Okay, nice. That's nice. Okay, so this is the main branch now. Main branch, and we have some work to do here. So yeah, insert if you're making a success done here, and they are being success at a different category than what you are in, then this goes away, and this is supposed to show that, okay, you actually like did something. So there was some confusion by some user about this, and yeah, so I think like how this should work is that when you're making a success then it automatically switches you to the right tab. Hey, Koji. And then furthermore, I think this should actually be in the params here. So this should be like the arrays tree or something. And it gets updated once you switch. So like you can easily link, say link to a different tab or whatever. So I think those two things could be fixed here because it is caused confusion today. And otherwise, there's the calendar feature that I also will work on. Yeah, I think just maybe start something about how to do this exactly because I know how to do it without if we wouldn't take that to the params, but I think we do want to get the params as well. So maybe we should actually put them to params first. Because how it works with this is that and we are making, and in this case it's specifically about the new. So this new component, like root, matches the when you're making a new suggestion. So I think actually what we should be able to do here is when you are submitting the action, so submitting the new function, then it actually, yeah, it redirects you with the param here. So it would say like this, and then also was like, you know, there that you just like submitted. So I guess this. So this I believe would fix it. But yeah, to make this happen, then we also need to support the params here. So it shouldn't be a big change, but I think I will do it now. And yeah, when I was making this, I was not quite too sure if this is needed, but yeah, I think in the end it's nice to have. So maybe it would be nice to do it now. And yeah, we could also do it so that Erik, tech lead, working on sendou.ink as a millionaire type of thing. No, but I think here it will be just like the usual JavaScript manipulating it. So didn't work on this in a couple of weeks, so I need to like think about how I structure this. No, this is the wrong tab, so it's suggestions, and we want to go to the page, and here's a header, and in this page we have TR visible. This stays undefined when adding first suggestion. Aha, so we can also fix this because what this to-do is saying is that when we're making the very first suggestion of the month, there is no suggestion. So when you come back, then it actually you don't see any TR. So this is actually kind of a bug we have. So instead when we are doing the redirecting correctly, then also fix this hiring interns. So yeah, absolutely. If you are interested in this project, then we do have, or well, I guess I can say we have this GitHub page where we have some like README and stuff that you can read to get started. And yeah, you can read this. There's some issues and whatnot you can help with if you want. But yeah, that's that. But okay, let's just make it so that when you're clicking like one of those tiers, then it actually appends it to URL as well. So this should be as simple as finding where we are setting this on change. We should probably like make this a function here. So maybe set tier visible tier, yeah, tier which is string. So instead we should say handle tier change, I think. Yeah. And once we have that, we can just, well, I like to do const inside the functional component. Handle tier change. So, and the tier is going to be string. And it's tier. And this should be now the kind of like the existing functionality. So yeah, when you're clicking, that function gets called. This updates. But actually, we do want to append now to the search params as well. And now I have to think about how this is done. I think I've done this somewhere else, but maybe not. So I know you can like submit a form with get, but I don't think we want this because we don't want the loader, which is kind of like what handles getting the data. We don't want that to rerun. Or maybe it would be fine, but because currently we're getting like all the suggestions you have access to, but we could also of course do it so that the server is only returning, the amount, like whatever they're viewing. But I think I don't really care about that personally. So I think that we can just leave it as it is and then just do the JavaScript here. So I think it's like React router at search param. I think you are supposed to do this with search params. Yeah, we probably want to do something like this, but don't they have like generic docs for this? I don't really want like, what do you want to do? Okay, hello Ersa. So we're doing a couple things here. So there's a bug today when someone was saying that they added a new suggested person, but it didn't work. So I was like, that's strange. But turns out what they did is that they were like here on like now I'm on the +3 tab, and they say a success someone for +1. Then you get redirected back to this page, but now we are viewing the tree. So you don't really get any feedback that actually what you did, what you just did worked. So what we want to do is redirect the user to the page where they can see the person they just successed, because otherwise people will be confused, and it's just a bit nicer thing to do. And the way I want to do it is, I think that we are appending to the URL that, okay, whatever the tier is. And then when we make here we are handling the server side. So when a new success then gets added, yeah, it saves the data. It's just about like the visual and the user experience. So here the redirect is handled, and yeah, we're just gonna like append it. That I think that will just straight up work, or at least it should. Now I'm like checking how to do it with this. I think it's with this hook. Set perms. Yeah, I bet we just use this. Handle that. Maybe let's just log out this, but I think I know what they are. And I think we want them there. Okay, so it's an object, and source params. Okay, that's beautiful. Hi, Anger. So yeah, using this we can just serialize form query. Params is this creating an object of key value pairs from the fields in the form that make up the query. So in this case, we say set search params is equal to tier. So I believe if I understood this correctly, then this should just work. Okay, quite cool. So now we see here it's updating. So that's, I think, the first part done. But now we actually don't want this to. So we want to get rid of this use state. Instead, we want to like check if whatever they are getting from the URL is correct, and if it is, then show that. Otherwise, show some default. Here visible initial state. So I think we can just reuse this function. This is like supposed to decide which one to show first, but we can adapt this to decide which one to show. So this would be the default. I think how it should work is that, yeah, we get rid of the, I already remove it. I'm not sure there. So we can remove this, and then instead we are, from the set params we're getting, so then the tier visible will be search params get here, and this can be null. So function. Hey, Anthony. So maybe search params to a legal here, and we get search params here, which is search params. So we say, and maybe we should do like a constant for the here. So well, no, I don't really care. I don't think that really matters. Okay, so const row. I don't know. Let's think about what we're gonna name that. But basically, we are getting the tier, and this can now be of type null. So if this here from search params, so in case this is not set, then we just return the invisible, the initial state here. Success. So I think we also want to pass this here. If no success, then yeah, because they can in some cases. This guy goes. Yeah, so in case it's not set, then we do the initial state. But then we would also need to validate it. So this is why it's a bit harder to do it this way, because they can just go there and they can just put like 23. So of course we don't want the UI to blow up, but in that case we wanted to use something that's like a sensible default. So for that case, I would say also if we don't have any suggestions. If I'm not mistaken, that's when we can also check, because I don't quite remember why I did this. So find visible for user. So in what case it? Okay, so if they're not member, they don't have suggestions. Hey Mantik. So yeah, this is something like that we have to handle. Something that we have to handle here. And yeah, that does it. And then this is the nice thing about types. Okay, so it's tiers of type string. So basically what we are saying, so we add one more condition, or not suggestions has own property here. So what we are saying with that is if such a tier does not exist, then whatever, let's just return the whatever they can view. Otherwise, if all of that is fine, then let's just return the tier from such params. So then whatever they have here is legal. And then in theory this should just work. And we don't need to update state, we just update the search params. Use set select tier for first success effect. I don't think we will need that with this approach. This is handling some edge case. We don't need to worry about that. So now we are updating the URL, and you can like share this, and yeah, it just remembers. It remembers it. So if we come to this page, then you always know this. And I think if we do this, then it should go to 1. Yeah, because it's going to something that's not really doesn't exist, so it defaults to 1. Okay, cool. So that's, I think, the first part is pretty much done. You selected tier. Just checking what this is doing. State. Yeah, I don't think I think this won't be necessary. I don't think we will need that. because it's just handling the edge case that we're gonna handle now in a different way. But let's just try this whole thing. I will make this into two different commits. But so where are we using this guy? Oof, in a couple different places. So let's leave a note that we might want to remove. But we could. So I collect every like URL in this one place. That way they're like easy to reuse. But I think now we want to be able to. I think that there might be a smarter way to do it with the URL constructor like this. But you have to pass in the base URL. No, this is TypeScript. There can be similarities. I don't know PHP, so I won't be able to comment on that. But yeah, let's just do it like this for now. So this is now a function where you can just tier, and if tier exists, do that, otherwise do that. Let's just tier is tier. So I bet there's a smarter way to do it with like some JavaScript APIs. But my problem with the URL, so I'm talking about this guy here. I do believe you have to like pass in the base URL, which we don't want to do here. So I actually don't know. Maybe this is fine. Hey Isaac. So in this case, this redirect would now change up to this, and this is something like that. But it can be a string, it can be a number, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So now maybe this works. But I'm also curious how often it will rerun the loader here. So if we do this a couple of times, does it rerun the loader? Yeah, it does. We actually don't want to do that. Or maybe it's fine. Maybe we should just do it so that you're only fetching like one at a time. Let's see if this works in the first place. Okay, so what we were trying to do in the first place. So if you are here and you're submitting it to the plus one, say, yeah, then you get redirected to this plus one. So in sense, this is exactly what we wanted. Likewise, plus two. Okay, and you here. So now when they do this, then they right away they are here on the page and they can see that okay, there's the person I suggested. But yeah, this is now the problem, is that the loader keeps rerunning each time we set the search params. Which is a bit of a problem. I don't think we want to do that. I think. Or maybe, so basically there's two options. Either I think we can use this API, which actually is kind of nice. So I kind of would like to use this actually, if possible. But the other option is that then we would only get per tier. But I don't think we want to do that kind of refactoring here now. So maybe I should just get rid of the search params. So how would that look like? So I bet if we can just still use search params from this, but then we actually just use some normal JavaScript API to do this. So JavaScript search. Yeah. window location search. So maybe I think in. So first of all, let's actually. Let's go ahead and at least like remember those changes. But yeah, I think maybe more like what we want to do here is this, because we don't want this thing to rerun. So we say location, so location, search. Yeah, I think this is a street only. So maybe in the end, after all, maybe we will refactor it. Maybe we will refactor it. Because yeah, we don't want it to rerun for no reason. Or we could cache it, but I think in this case it like because you can cache on when you're moving pages, you can cache this. So I think that's also like a one viable solution. But I don't quite know. Otherwise, this is quite close. I think probably the most real way to do it would be that we are reading the search params in the loader. And so on. But actually, I might just end up not doing the search params, at least for now. It seems like maybe it's more problems than it's worth. And instead, well, it's trade-offs. Yeah, I think let's just refactor it to only return what we need. It can be smarter. For example, if you're coming in, you're only checking like what the +1 success are, and then you go, then you don't really need to also load the +2 and +3 success. So in that sense, I think it's fine. It's probably like closer to how you are supposed to do it. So yeah, otherwise this looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I don't think we need that anymore. This is just checking that we are getting the tier. Then if no, tier from search params. Hey Metro. Yeah, I'll explain in a second. Tier from search params, success tones. So on property, then return the default, otherwise get it from search params. Okay, that's beautiful. Then it was just some thing we tried. This is just redirect. Okay. So this is a bit of like a rabbit hole now, Metro. So what we started with was that when you are making a success, currently the way it works is that when I'm on the +3 tab and I success or +1, for example, then as you see now it's switched to +1 tab. But how it used to work is that when you're on the +3 tab, then you stay here and then you just go off and then you're like, well, did it do anything? And then you go do it again, maybe, or something. And then you're like, well, it's just a bit like a nicer, like a small UX thing. But the problem we have now is that it's like reloading the loader every time you are switching the tab. And loader is kind of like this function that runs to get data. for your page, and that's not really needed. But there's actually one more API we can use. Maybe that would be the easiest. But yeah, just to like show what I mean is that when I change this a bunch of time, and we have already loaded all of them in, so this is, but they don't know. So yeah, then it's just like doing this a lot of time. Yes, for that case, but not for this case where we are changing the tabs. This is when it's not supposed to like reload it like a million times. But there's one API that Remix provides that we might be able to use. It is unstable should reload. So we might be able to actually use this. Because if I would write this from bottom up, I would probably do it so that you're only loading the successes that you're actually seeing. But I don't really, it's not really something I wish to do right now, if that makes sense. Like I don't really want to do it. I don't have to. So now, first of all, let's just, so basically this says if the loader function should run. So you can do some logic here and then you can decide if you want to run it. So in this case, I think what we want to say, if previous URL path name was this, then don't, otherwise yes. Hey Storm Hero, I missed that. Center here, but also that's a lot of code. I'm still a code newbie. Yeah, then it can seem like a lot of code. But once you work on it more, then it makes more sense. So yeah, I think what we can say, because when we are successing, then the way we know that we need to reload is that actually we are coming from the, oh, this is creating so many. And it's kind of interesting that it's doing this. I would expect this to only run when it's about to run loader, but is it in all of these cases it's doing that, I guess. So maybe let's just do a bit of conditional here. So okay, now it's not running because yeah, on this case it did not coming from there. But now we have to be really careful not to introduce a bug here. I think we're almost really close to be doing it. Actually, that did work. So that reloaded. Okay, of course, because we're still returning true. But I think it's easy to return a bug. It's easy to introduce a bug here. But yeah, that's like one thing. At least in the case that the submission action, submission. Okay, so I bet it's like this. So only in the case that it's a form submission. So should reload in case this thing called submission exists. Otherwise, don't do it. And yeah, we still have the So now if this works, then this should not create any. Yeah, this did not rerun the loader anymore. So it's just a small optimization thing, but I think this should work. And this should reload. Which it did, because it was an action, it was a post. Likewise, this should now, finally, this should just work the way we want. Designer. And what's here? And we can leave a comment. And again, it's reloading. Okay, that's exactly what we wanted, actually. So this is not really like the cleanest way ever to do it. But for this use, I'm fine with it. I don't really care. So this is like a framework I'm using, Remix. I recommend checking it out if you're interested. But the submission is coming from Remix. So Remix is kind of like their selling point, and the really cool part they do for you is handling all of these form submissions and routing and data loading and all of this hard stuff for you. So this is coming from Remix. The Remix, this is like this should reload function. It's kind of like Remix saying, okay, well, we're about to load the loader, but if you don't want us to do that, then this is final chance not to do it. So here we are saying, okay, well, in this case, we are updating the search params, but please don't update the loader based on that. Only do it when we post the form. That's that in short. So we're gonna do a couple things here. So this is not good in my opinion. Yeah, I really like it, double cookies. Like the thing I miss with Next.js is exactly this data handling for you. And also good evening. Like when you are doing something, uh, like with server, which let's face it, often you are doing something with server. Remix is, I mean, Next.js is kind of like, oh well, then just do it. I don't care how you do it, but Remix kind of like has this nice experience to handle that for you, like loading data, updating data. So that's why I quite enjoy it. So now we are redirecting and taking into account the search params. So this to me looks actually kind of good. And yeah, we need to remove this. This is duplicated. We don't need that. But we can do that in a different commit. So this is just like redirect user to plus success. Redirect with new user. Yeah. This is optimize success loader call amounts, basically. And then the last thing we need to do here is to get rid of this guy. Instead, use this. It's probably like a better way to do it, but let's do it like so when you're calling it without any arguments, it just redirects it to you without any search params. So yeah, just removing a bit of duplication here. But yeah, now I'm quite happy with this. So when we started, what was the problem was that when you on +3 and I'm successing someone to +1 submit, then it used to keep you on this +3 tab, so you can actually see the person you successed, but now you do. Now you see it right there, so it's harder to miss, and people won't get confused. expected one argument, but I mean, it's not, we don't need that. Okay. This cf command, this is runs like different checks that I like to run, but I also have GitHub action for this. Do not access object prototype method has on property from target object. What? Why? What is this saying? Let's fix that next, I guess. And I like to just check that I didn't add anything there that is not supposed to be there. But what is that saying? Do not access object property. Why can't I use has on property? Why? Okay, so this is okay. So let's figure out why this is wrong. So choose 70. So is it saying I have to do it like this? I don't really know why. Like, what's the problem with using has on property? Maybe if I Google, it will give me some nice explanation. But you know, we don't have to worry about that. We can just move on with our lives. So whatever that was. Okay, so I think we are done on this branch, and we can go back to working on the calendar, which what we were working on yesterday as well. So let's go to the calendar branch. Then we need to do the migration for the calendar. Then we need to probably run the seed. Actually, we need to install depps first. Then we need to run the seed. Then I can show you what we were doing yesterday and what we're gonna do next. So calendar. But first check my batches animation. That's pretty nifty, not gonna lie. So we were just cleaning this up a bit yesterday. We added this part about whoever made the post about the tournament. Then we clean up some stuff about this, and then we made it this load only on client, and then we made it so that it's excluding events that are not, because from the server we load events also from Monday from European perspective, but that's because if the user ends up being in like California, then those events are still Sunday for them. So we are handling that on client. Oh yeah, this is what I'm quite happy with, this animation and this, because I had an idea, and often like you have an idea, but then when you go implement it, then it's like nothing what you thought. Like it looks horrible, and you just delete it, and you never think of it again. But this I quite like. Okay, so I think let's just go about it like there's a bunch of things to do. I don't have an order in mind, but one thing we could do is fix these event counts, because this is coming from server now, but as we just talked about, the server time and the client time might be two different things. So for that reason, we cannot calculate them on server. We have to do it on client. This is the route for the calendar events. And this is what we did yesterday. Just so we're on the same page. So this function is what we implemented yesterday. This is doing it on server. So we are just loading all the start times, and here's the SQL, by the way, related. So everything to the calculation is currently on the screen. If you want to check it out, I can leave it there for a bit. But it's nothing fancy. We're just looping through the start times. We figure out which week it is, and then we increment it by one UTC times. I mean, yes, but I don't think we want to use UTC times, right? Because it's a calendar, it's supposed to show my times. When I go to a calendar, I don't really care about when disrespectful airfare event is in UTC time. I care about it, but it's in like my time. But that's fine. So I think we just need to, what I was thinking we need to do is just return the start times from the loader and not the client, then do the same calculation. And then it will be correct because it's a minor bug. Yes, displays local time, but internally work with this. So I might misunderstand you, but what I mean is basically it says 12 here, but it might be 13 for some user this week, and it might be 12 for some user this week, depending on your location on the globe. So that's why we cannot really reliably calculate this on the server without knowledge of the user's time zone. And the reason why this can be bad is because it can appear a bit buggy if it says like one event and then you go and you see nothing, for example. So we don't want that kind of user experience. I do fetch the number up there from the DB. It's here on the screen, but we're gonna now blow this up. Just comment it out for reference. But in essence, the change is quite simple. If I return this, then this says like start times of range. So the range is given here. We are taking this guy, removing it from here, removing this map. Instead, we are saying like I don't know, start times or something. Maybe nearby. Is it nearby? Is it like, okay, one word, nearby, start times. Now that's like, I think we could actually do it like this. So also like we just return the timestamps. So then this is just returning the numbers. So otherwise we do the same calculation in the client. So maybe let's just copy this function. And we have this weak links method. Function. So events count per week. I don't know if it should be event counts. But anyway, it will just be start times, which is of type applicate. And otherwise it's the same. So this is the nice thing about working with JavaScript, is that if you have logic on server or client, it's easy to move them between each other. But otherwise I think this is it. So we can just say this is mounted this to handle the, otherwise it might have a different result on server and a client. So we need to say we need to only calculate this once it's on the client, like not on the server. So const counts. Actually, what I do is preface that get. And only if we have mounted, otherwise it's just like return a new map, because we can just do some like placeholder, or maybe this should be like null, not too sure. But anyways, then this will be event counts get. And we're hiding this whole thing in case we don't have any event counts. So does it work? Looks good to me. You can see when it loads in, we don't have any counts, then we do. Well, there you see a small bug. So you know. So I believe we should say this. Do you have a unit test about that? I had so many of them for the bracket, for the bracket feature. Because that was to me so nice to work on unit tests in that. Because I could, for example, I could go to Chalonge and I could see how they generate the bracket. Then I could just like copy the expected result. Like for example, double elimination of this many teams should have this many rounds, and I would know it's true. It's from Chalonge. That was so nice to work with. And if I discovered the bug, I just made a new unit test. I love that. But for this stuff, for me, I've been doing more like end-to-end test here. So here at end-to-end test, and this feature will help them as well. I think here I don't want to honestly spend all of my time writing tests for this. I don't really. It's like a personal project. I'm working on it, or I'm reviewing all the code for it, so it kind of reduce some of the benefit from it. But yeah, I could see like this would be like a nice function to unit test normally. But you know what? We're bad boys, we don't care. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that has a bug, then I mean, I guess if we have the wrong number, then I fix it. I don't really care. But yeah, you're right. We could that could have a unit test, but I'm afraid it won't have. So more like I think I will just like write some like end-to-end test that just runs through the whole thing and checks if it works at all. Okay. So that looks good to me. That's handling the disparity, I think. What do you guys think, by the way? Should I allow going back on events that have no events in them? Because originally I was kind of thinking I should maybe like disable it after a while. Like maybe you can't anymore go like further, or I should maybe hide the 39 onwards here. But now I'm thinking maybe it doesn't really matter because I guess you could sometimes have some gaps there. So then, oh, what? Huh? What just happened? We go here. I don't I don't think that's expected behavior, but let's commit this first. So yeah, we just remove this guy. And if anyone is interested in contributing, then of course adding unit tests to stuff like this is an excellent place to start. It is quite low risk and you get some experience running on the code base. So there's that. But to answer your question, there actually is right now this is the only unit test. But in the part that's not currently in this branch, which is the bracket, there's like quite a bit more. But this is the part where I was not so sure if it was gonna work, so I wrote a couple tests to at least check something. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, I'm thinking about that as well because I don't think it's that bad because you kind of like you know like when you go here that okay, well they don't have anything, so you can scroll, but it doesn't change anything. I mean, if you wish to do that, then go for it. But I don't think I want to disable it, and plus it's more logic. Like to me, it's unnecessary. But yeah, even stuff like this, like I mean, I could unit test this, but I don't know. I think the benefit is more like if someone else will work on this, that it will still work the same way I made it. But in itself, I think it's. I mean, I shouldn't say anything. I mean, I bet I'm gonna say something like, "Oh, how can this have a bug?" And then it has a bug already. So let's just avoid saying that. Yeah, we don't need that comment there. Not gonna lie. That is a good point. Maybe we should have 0 events and not instead of not showing anything. So what did I do here? Invisible if none. So I guess what we would do then is to if this didn't mount yet, and then just default this to 0. Right? This is what you mean. And then if we are loading this in, then we see the same before. I agree. That's a good point. See, this is why I like streaming this stuff because yeah, like yesterday as well, I got some smart comments and today as well. Like I think it's good. because it's good to have a second opinion like this. So I quite like this. Yeah, let's do that. It's a small change, but I think it's a good one. But yeah, now about this, guys. What if I skip to 51? Oh, please don't throttle me. What is happening here? So we go like we go back to this where we started. That's not what we want to happen. So let's go ahead and fix that now. So this pretty much is where the bug is, I think. Someplace. So maybe we could log what the params are. That could be a good start. Number must be less than or equal to what? Oh, you're right, Brooke. Why did I add this here? What was I thinking? Like, I really can't think of, like, what was I thinking? So if we are in December last week, then you can't have events for January 1st with this logic. Yeah, no, I think I set some brain fart here. You know what? I don't think we need any min or max. If someone wants to get events for the like, is there any reason? Basically, this is just checking that the search params are correct before it's actually calling the database. But I think it's fine that we just check it's a number and it's an int. I don't think we need to do any limitations about the range of it. I mean, we can say, I think it's probably more expected it works like this. Yeah, so now you can go. Oh, now it's code 1901. That's kind of funny. I mean, that doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah. And now, if we take the one, then as expected, we are continuing on our journey 2023. Okay, nice catch, Burke. Yeah, let's just remove it. There's no reason to have those there. Remove search param year range or whatever. Okay. So other thing I was worried about, or like not worried about, but I think this is not really English to say 32 week. I think this is say week 32. And the reason I did origin like this is because we say next week, so 32 week. But I think it would probably be better if it said next week and week 32. Week 32 of splat 3. Not too sure what you mean. No, it's in the week links, obviously. This next last. It's like a funny little part here. Yeah, week 32 of the calendar year. I wasn't sure if that's like, I thought it's more common, but I don't know if it's if it actually is common, or maybe I'm just thinking it's common. And how I'm also in the BR here. Okay, that's pretty funny. Maybe let's just first do it the bad way. No, let's not do it. I don't think in terms of big number, but usually week starting on 59th July. So I think this relative ones is good, because this week, I know what this week is. It's the week I'm currently living on. I think next week is good. I think last week is good, but I agree it would be good to say like, but I don't know how I can fit them. I don't know if I can fit them here, otherwise it would indeed be quite nice. Like what did it say? I mean, maybe. I mean, that's probably better than saying like week, who knows what like week 37 means. But here you see right away what it means. So maybe I should, after all, I should do it like this. So this arrow is obviously quite ugly, but maybe we have some nice ski arrow. Please, I just want to copy some arrow. There was some really nice looking one. Yeah, can't we just copy some guy like this? The emoji. Yeah, maybe, but what about week that is half February and half March? But I like this. This was again a good idea, Burke. But I don't know if this is really like the. I don't think this is like a godlike design necessarily. But I like the principle of it. I just need to think of how to do it like short enough. Because I don't know if I can fit. I could probably fit two numbers there. Yeah, I think 34 Joule might already be a bit long, maybe. It's like a tiny bit long. Oh yeah, yeah, it's also we gotta localize that. But yeah, I was saying like 34, then dash, and when it ends. I think that would be actually quite clean if we can do that. Let's try to do that. So maybe here we say const relative week identifier. Yes. Let's copy this monstrosity here. And then only render this part if that is. Now this should not get anything. Oh. Yeah, like that's why I was leaning towards sorted months, since we don't have as many localization, whereas for users that expect month days less day month. Yeah, indeed. That's a really good point. But I think that there's like some built-in methods for that. Let's just try it out real quick. We can clean this up later if this turns out to be a good solution. Like these BRs are not really like, best practice, but just please. It will all be fine, trust me. Maybe. Week number, the date. We have this nice function. I love this. This has been quite useful. We should rename this though. Week number to start date. Yeah, trust in me. And then here we say week number. We say week. I bet we can just pass in the week. It doesn't have a year. Yeah, of course. And we can say get local to local date string, where we take that needs to be fixed, but we take the day, 2-digit, and month numeric. Then we do same here. This is not looking bad at all. That could also be numeric. And then we need to add. This would be cleaner as a separate function, I think, at this point. But just so we get the visual. So we get the visual here. Actually, maybe this could also take 18 lunchbox. Maybe this could take like position. This is kind of like bad name, but yeah, I tried yesterday. I quite liked it, so that I'm trying it again. So this position would basically mean that because we're converting week number to date, of course, week number is not one date. So right now it's taking the first Monday. And okay, I'm assuming week is Monday to Sunday. I know this is not really a global truth, but again, this stuff is a bit hard. We're just doing it for now. So position is start, but in case So we can set like a small if here. Yeah, it's crazy to me that people have week starting on Sunday. It's just like it doesn't I can't comprehend it. So then we had 7, I think, or 6. Let's try with 7. Yeah, 8 hours is something different. Right, and then here we say position is and 8. Okay, who has a calendar? Okay, what's this? Maybe? Oh, the guy knows about this. Who knew about this command? If you're on Bash, go do it now. It's quite useful. But yeah, let's check it out. 8, 8, 850. Think about this. The only this has to be the first time it's been useful, and I can right away like show off. 815. So it should actually be +6. Something like that. Yeah, I know. That's really cool. Okay, so the only thing we need to do here is we have this. So basically, we can do this with a flexbox, and then we just don't add as much padding to this. But otherwise, I quite like this. So yeah, thanks for the good idea, Burke. This is much more clear because everyone kind of knows by month plus date more than week number. But okay, so we are doing a lot of things in this commit, but whatever. So weak links. So let's say I feel like most of these streams is just me that trying to think of names. But this is function uh, weak link text. I mean, please someone think of a better name. Who can think of the best name for this next week, 8/8, 8/14, this week, last week? So not the time with the multiplier, just the part on top. What is the best function for a component that is this? Something better than weak link text, please. I beg. Will you keep the NUS fixed local? No, we shall not do that. Constraints. It's probably my English, but for me it doesn't extend. Because for me it's more like weak link range, but then again it's not really because it can also say like this week, which is not really a range. It could be like, but yeah, let's just I'm gonna show you what the function will look like. So what do we get? Uh, I was thinking of how to open them into 2 different tabs, but I don't know if that's really possible. Let's just do it like this for now. Oh, if relative quick identifier, then return this. Otherwise, return this. And you want week. So you want a week. As you do the week. Oh, I will never learn how to write this. Use data function return. Don't try this at home, kids. And then we also need the current week. Why am I doing it like this? Well, I don't care. I believe this is fine. It's the problem. Week link title. I like that because it is title. Yeah, that's what we do. Congrats on winning the naming. Well, actually, we don't even need to pass that. Because we get the data. So this is a hook that gets the one that we got from the loader. And boom shakalaka, everything just works. Kinda. Oh, true, what am I thinking? Week. Week. It's a React component. And it looks good. Okay, so I think it's a bit cleaner, you know, it puts it out of the way and all the logic from there as well. Like, so yeah, I think that was a good thing to make it a different function, and then we don't have this. I know like nested ternaries, I know it's not really. I'm not encouraging this kind of behavior, but in this case it's kind of nice. I think it's kind of easy to read this, honestly. Like, tell me, is this easy to read or is this hard to read? What do you think? It depends. I think it depends, but I think this one is fine. Okay, but what am I doing? Yeah, I got Brett here to thank for that. Okay, but now let's do some div soup. People always say like that so many divs, it's like it's not semantic, but like come on. What's the semantic tag for this? Tell me. Boom shakalaka stack SM. Then I bet we also need to do something like justify center. Huh? That is small? So maybe we're not going to use stack yet after all. But you're going to get the idea. Just the only difference is that we're not going to do stack. Maybe for these ones we actually can. And the stack is just this. So it just adds a gap between them. Yeah, maybe these guys could just be like, yeah, I think that looks quite okay. But yeah, for this we need like special behavior. So please don't be a stack. Instead, let's do like, actually, we probably don't actually need any padding. I think it can just like this. Actually, we probably want to, so line height is 0.9. Maybe like 0.8. Take care, bar. Then we gotta make sure that actually the indicator stays down. I don't know if it's staying down. But the line height makes this smaller, so we can make the line height of this. What the fuck? Calendar event. Dash. Dash. Yeah. Obviously, that's what it is. Yeah, sure. But it's not really, it's more like calendar big dash. Right? What? Okay, TypeScript, I don't really want to hear that, so please keep it to yourself. Let's just pretend you didn't say that. What are the cool kids using for component scope CSS these days? Last I checked, there were like 400 different solutions for it. But in my opinion, CSS models is where it's at. It's just not supported for Remix yet. So that's why there's actually no scoping. I hope they will come up with some new solutions, but for now this is working just fine. But yeah, I mean, I quite like it. What do you guys think? Actually, this gap is, I don't think it has any business being that big. Let's go here and let's become even smaller. That was a good idea, Burke. This is definitely better than what I had previously. It's more text, but it's just so much more like, well, not no more text, but it's the vertical space is more. Okay, but now let's do what Metro talked about, which is the, we should not do any US. However, if we do that, then we cannot render this. If we are doing it on the client, then we can't. And we need to do more. But I agree, we shouldn't do this. I think even normally in most places I tie this to the language changed, but I selected, but I think in this case I can't. I think it will be too confusing, I think. Or maybe day, month, like what Berg was saying in the first place. What? Well, that's really narrow. I wish, but I don't think it will fit. Damn, I wish. I mean, we do have even smaller font size, but you might see why I don't. And even that is not enough for the other one. We can always take off padding here, but I think that's just gonna be too ugly. Well, actually, what do you guys think? I mean, that's not so bad, is it? But it becomes kind of hard to read. But honestly, you kind of know what's there. As long as we can read this once, I think it's not so bad. Yeah, I'd say this is fine too. But yeah, I bet this will because we will put this to use the current locale, because I do have actually I had like one big thing I did was add translations to this. So actually this is completed, like supports translations. We just need to add them to this feature. Yeah, and it's not like body text, so I think we're gonna do that. Okay, so let's try to adjust. Otherwise, I quite like this. This is probably like the most optimal thing that we can put there. So I'm doing some like crazy CSS. Maybe don't ask what is happening here because I don't have an answer. Uh, yeah, you already know that's gonna happen, Metro. Size 1, 2, 8, 9. Actually, we're looking for the 3, so I think it's actually the main. So in this case, the padding could be this. September 25. Yeah, I mean, looks good to me. So yeah, when you load this, you go here and then you see, okay, this week, next week, last week. And then we see, okay, after that we go back to July and or we can go and view what kind of events are in August 8. And then 14 is the Sunday. Okay. I'm quite happy with this now. So let's go ahead and commit that. How about including calendar weeks except only the dates of the week? Not too sure what you mean. So you see it's unused, so maybe just fix it. No? Okay, cool. So this commit is gonna be quite big. Okay, so this was old ones, whatever. We can have them in this commit. It's not that serious. And then we abstract this to a new component where we are doing this relative weak identifier thing. So this is gonna have translations. But yeah, you're right, Metro. Like I can already see this becoming a problem with when like French is gonna be annoying about it. But actually the library I use also allows you to switch these around if needed, so it won't be a problem. All right, we need to remember that. So basically we want to say that use the currently viewed language, not like English always. Let's hold on to that. Then we did some changes here. It's fine. Okay, that's the naming is a bit weird. Okay, we need to rename that, but we can do that. We can do it in this commit, it doesn't matter. So what we say here is translation. It's language. And in this case, there's no difference. But say if we in Japanese, then these will automatically get translated to Japanese and like localized for Japanese. But I bet it's gonna break because some language is gonna have long ass names for no reason. And then yeah, it will. But I'm not like I'm not like worrying about every little detail like that for so much. I think I'm just gonna like try to do a good job, and then if there are like if there are problems when we actually implement the translations, then go back and fix them. Just told my team that they can come to the stream when we're about to play. I'll just work until 10. So yeah, rename because actually no, week number the date. It wouldn't make sense to rename it that week number the date. Yeah, now the naming is actually accurate when you added this position argument. So I guess the defining thing for this commit would be yeah, and even in personal like in like professional projects, it's just about what you will never achieve perfection. So I think often you have to together with your team agree what parts won't be perfect day one, and then you can work on them later. Because if you're just trying to get everything perfect, then you're gonna hold up everything, and like it might be more important to ship than that possibly some future translation is perfect already. Like as an example. The defining is like weak link title with date ranges, which was a good idea. Thanks again. Okay, but now I'm quite happy with this. And see now you have AirPods Max. Yeah, pink ones. Quite like them, but as you hear, the mic is not the best. I have a better mic that I'm gonna install, but today was raining, so I couldn't bring it. Currently selected weak link, completely white and not grayish. So you mean like this? Does anyone else have opinions? Is this better or worse if we keep the selected one like this? I'm thinking about it. I don't dislike it. Yeah, you're right. I think let's do that. So then this is a matter of doing like small CSS change. It is the fifth child, and we just say the color is nice. Good idea. I have some linter that orders the CSS properties for me, so that's why I run this. I wouldn't really need to run the whole thing, but it also doesn't really matter. Nice. That looks quite clean. Let's select textures. Nice. Good idea. Okay. So next thing we're gonna implement is that. So one new thing about this calendar compared to old one is that your event can have multiple dates. So for example, Superjump last weekend had 2 dates, or like even more because they also had different waves. So then you can have all of those in the calendar and not just one. So it gives it easier to know that, okay, not only is Saturday blocked, but also Sunday, because that's like Superjump, they do day two. So that's why we have this kind of functionality. So here is an example. This trivial conservative. This is the day two of the trivial conservative event. So actually these link to the same page. These links here. So date range are really multiple infinite amount of dates. It is in fact infinite amount of dates, at least from system design perspective. It's just like a table, a database, and you can just add as many of these as you want. So the first thing we will do is just to have the second appearance of trivial conservatives say like this. So we increment that automatically. I think this will be the MVP version, and just do it on the same page. So if for some reason it would be on a different week, then we don't really handle this for now, at least. But the only thing we will do is if it's, and maybe it will be a different font to like say that it's not part of the name, it's like actually something different. But yeah, I think we will just quite literally just like check if on the same page there's a different one, or if you already had like trivial conservative. So I think the way to do this is to put the loader, put the loader. So who is good at SQL? How can we? So here is the SQL query. I mean, I don't believe you, Metro. This is SQLite, by the way. So I think the preferred solution would be to have here like basically something like if it's day 2 or day 3 or something. So basically, when we are going through this result, then if already in the same list of rows, we already have the same event ID. I bet there's some way to do it. Let's investigate a bit. I'll be right back. So yeah, I think maybe we can use here something called row number, maybe. Over this is now a doc reading stream. So can we just literally say row number over event ID? I don't know at all. This is not really a function I use too often. Hash. What you would even call this? Appearance. That does not describe it at all, but maybe. Date instance number. Maybe. Okay, well, it does not like it. It's a good question how you're supposed to use this. Now I'm more like I quite like using just console log. As far as I know, the debugger in VS Code is quite good. Just not really something I use. I mean, doing this in SQL is, I mean, in JavaScript is also trivial. But I don't know. I believe this is one of these cases where I just don't know how to do it in SQL. I a bit lack the words that I could use to describe this. Rank. The row number of the first peer in each group. There is no. This sounds not that bad. Rank over order. No, but it's just about ordering them. Yeah, honestly, I might just do it in JavaScript then. Because I don't, like, what do I even want? I would want to know, like, I guess how many of them, like, how many there are before it. I don't think it would be a sin to do it even during rendering. But honestly, I think we should avoid doing that. So basically, like something like this that would just tell like how many times you have already seen this row based on this event ID. So how many times has this? Yeah, SQLite does support that. That is one way to do it, I believe. But I think in this case, let's just not get hung up on this. Let's instead do it right here. So rows. So like it, as you see, it would be preferable if we would have a function for it in SQL. But I think it's not the worst thing ever. It's fine. Const. I can show how I would write this. Like like my first thinking, then maybe we can think of a cleaner way to do it. But basically like event scene or something, like a bad name, but whatever. And you have calendar event date, event ID, is a number. And you have numbers, like how many times we have seen it. This is what we are returning. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying this is a bad way to do it. Just that I kind of feel like if someone really knows SQL, they would like know a window function to do this. But whatever, we don't have to worry about that. So, or one, because I mean it has seen itself. It's not 0 plus 1. I don't know if that makes it more or less clear, but basically this is how many events there has been so far. And then we say appearance. What was the Borg suggestion? Date instance number. Instance number. Honestly, I probably like something like this probably makes the most sense to me. And this is so if event so far is bigger than 1, then 7 so far. Otherwise, we just don't care. We just leave it as undefined. And then we also have to in 30 minutes anchor. Okay, thanks. Thanks for the info. Now, when we go here, just have events, then we have the trivial conservative. So this is the second appearance, and this one doesn't have anything. So I think, honestly, I think that's fine. I was hoping for a better solution, but you don't need to worry about that. Get the perfect solution, I mean. Maybe after all show. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it makes sense to show the Monday events or the previous week. But then I decided it's honestly more confusing than not, so I just removed that idea. And in principle, what we have, rank with version. Yeah, I think I will like return to it later and try to refactor it better. So there's an appearance, which is just leftover. Let's remove that. What? Do you keep any sample starter or SQL database for this on the GitHub? Yes. Excellent that you asked. If anyone is interested in trying this project locally, go to the calendar branch and check the setting up instructions. So I just tested this when I set this up on this new user, and this is working. So it has the migrations, and then it has seed, which is just calling this monstrosity where I have all the seeds. So in the case of calendar events, we have this sort of thing going on. So we just using Faker to push stuff there. So if anyone is interested, then it's quite possible to set this up on your own computer. Okay, so day 2. So that is beautiful. Yeah, I don't know like how you're supposed to write that, because I think like I get the generic like factor functions and everything is beautiful, but more often than not, I just want to do like some small tweaks there and there. I don't know. I think it's something like this is fine. Works for me. So I will show what I was gonna do. And we also need that out for like format to this. Yes, spread there, please. So then I never added the semicolons. I just let Brett do it for me. Yeah, I don't know. I prefer the monstrosity pattern. I feel like that's the most control, but yeah, the downside is that it looks like you don't really want to show it. So day 2. Maybe we could even use team secondary. I barely used this. I don't really like how that looks. Yeah, that's fine. In some cases, it's kind of nice. Actually, maybe in this case, it's not so bad. But I don't know. It is. It really stands out a bit too much. It probably was just has to be a text slider. I think that's fine. Like a batch almost. Yeah, but there will be actual batches in with the like my console. There's gonna be an actual batches as well, same as this, like these sort of batches. So I don't know. I don't think I want too many of this either. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah, the batches is like one of the next things to add. I think it's probably after we do this multitasking, at least to a point. So yeah, I don't think this is like amazing, but I don't think it always has to be perfect right out of the gate. Now we're gonna do the same thing for here. So probably how I think about this is gonna be look something like this. Day 1, and then below that day 2. But yeah, this is kind of like oversimplifying it because I think people will want to use it like for example like IPL like with the Super Jump 2. I think they might want to use it for like the waves which happen on the same day. So this is kind of like oversimplifying it, but I'm thinking maybe later we can allow them to. So we have this table in the database, right? So we could have like one more column that says name, and then you can say like name is group stage and like group stage wave A, group stage wave B, and top cut. So then this day thing would only be like a fallback, and instead it would say there like group stage, and you can set that. Actually, we might even do that for the first launch. So yeah, I don't think that's a problem. We can just assume for now that it defaults to stay, and then we should also like if we do that, we should do it on database level. So that you can always like just get the name, and then it's maybe getting some default. Maybe with the translation it's a bit more tricky. Okay. Not taking into account many dates. That is very true. And I think we have to change our SQL for that as well. So what this get does is get the first row. But what this query does is it can return many rows if the event has many dates. Then each of those dates will be a different row. So I think we can just use that, and then we can say that this is like the row, and then we enhance it a bit. Actually, no. Let's do all. Let's call this rows. So basically, the null was there, like it's getting it by ID. So in some cases, of course, it might be that the ID is wrong. So if row's length is 0, then we are returning, well, returning a null. Yeah. So then the caller has to handle it. Otherwise, we are returning rows 0. And then here we are saying the dates. What are the dates? Dates are rows, row start time. And then maybe we also say like the start time is undefined. We get it out of there as well. So now I believe what should have happened, yeah, is that Yeah, TypeScript won't like that, but we only want to check that what we did looks more or less correct. And that looks quite good to me. So now we're getting the dates in here. Just gotta make sure that we are actually ordering them correctly. Select, join, there. So we also need to say, we need to order them because the dates can't be like, the date has to be that the, like the, I guess the most in the future is the last. So that's why we have to say, we have to order this by start time. So that's a small thing, but still important to do. I don't really like that we call it dates. It's not really a date, is it? Maybe let's hope that the Node.js start times are the same. And we have that. Then simply the thing that's missing is do some styling to this guy. So basically so that it's consistent for what we have here. We called it actually this. I like copy the class name. Calendar event day. It's suspicious what I'm doing here. Thing is, I don't think I'm even loading these styles. Don't worry about that now. So again, I think we just do like the same kind of styling. So we just put it like text slider. It will look like that, and then 7 time can be a flex with some gap. Tiny bit more. And I would actually kind of want these to be equal sized. I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much. Should it be a grid then actually? Yeah. Grid. Okay, now we're needs to be what wraps them, I think. Without table. Yeah, let's pull out the table in the coming clutch. It should be a grid. Let's first just say what we already did. So this should be event times, then this should be display grid. template columns, max content. Let's see if this works. I gotta say, I don't work with grid as much for some reason. Okay, thanks, Tom. I'll stop. That can be a reactor fragment. Okay. That's quite interesting. Oh, because the height is... No. Gap is... specifically that's column gap. Okay. Looks good to me. Maybe it doesn't need to be quite that big. But yeah, that looks good to me. So now but that day, almost. But I think it's a bit dumb that this is day one and then that. I mean, for this, I think it looks good. But I think for this, it looks kind of dumb. Like it should not say that. So what if we say this is actually 0? Oh, I thought it would disappear, but it didn't. So let's do it the proper way. But let's leave some stuff for us to do next time. So we are taking into account many dates, but should not say day one if we have one day. It's like the most pressing thing that we have here, I believe. Then next we would have like implement patches, implement not patches, but tags is what I call them, I believe. I think we can still commit that. I think that's like closer. Okay, well, that's something else for us to fix. I think I'm gonna commit that still. I don't really mind. Yeah, looks good. Then we're doing the days here. Looks good. And then this grid. The grid was quite nice. Like I said, I don't use it too often, but there it worked out quite nicely. Okay, so we say so many days. And so yeah, if you wanna, no, it's fine. So if you wanna see the changes I made, I can post the branch. Okay, it's not letting me copy paste. So I have to type this out. But yeah, I think I'm done. I'm gonna go scream. I'll probably be doing more of these streams though. So yeah, if you wanna see the code we just did, that's the well, we did also some commits to the rewrite branch, but that's where we did most of the commits. And yeah, tomorrow I'm spending time with my girlfriend, but I think I would like to continue this maybe on Thursday or something. So yeah, I really appreciate guys hanging around. Thanks, Metro. Thanks for the sub. I really appreciate it. You have a nice remaining evening as well. And yeah, it was cool. I quite like this because I stay more focused. I got more done, but also I got some good suggestions. Like I think this would look worse without the feedback I got from you guys. So sure, I could get that feedback later, but it's kind of nice that I'm able to get like the wisdom of many people while I work on this. And this I think is quite informative now. Yeah, for sure. You always have limited vision when it's just you. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. I think I'll put this up on YouTube. Could be cool. I think I'll do that. So yeah, thanks for watching. You appreciate it. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day or evening.